What's up, y'all? This is Hussein Nasser from iGeometry. We are back. It's been a long time. I've been doing all sort of things. I took a break from the channel to do some other side projects. So we are back finally. So even within the channel itself, as you have noticed, for those who have been following the channel, I've been recording some sort of a spin-off GIS channel videos. Like I dove into Docker and tried to link it with how would one use Docker into the ArcGIS platform. It was all a theoretical. I didn't actually do any implementation, but I believe it could be. We still need to do some work, but I believe it's possible. I have done my own project. I purchased a Raspberry Pi 3 and I dove into robotics. I built a small robot and I hosted a Node.js application and controlled that. I didn't really share that because it's a very small project. So I've been like on my time after work, I've been doing these sort of things. I also explained the ArcGIS server and portal and WebGIS platform in a very briefly, I think one episode that. So I took that time to digest where I want to go in this channel. And last, I would believe, popular episodes or series where, are we recording? Yes, we are. So the last episode that were actually popular, I thought it is the ArcGIS add-ins. Basically using C#, you built add-ins or on top of the ArcGIS desktop platform. So desktop is a very generic term now in Esri. Desktop could mean ArcMap, this suite of applications like ArcMap, ArcCatalog, ArcScene, ArcGIS Pro, even that is now considered desktop. So we want to build, these series teach you how to build like add-ins or extend ArcMap to build your own apps using .NET technology in general, C# in specific as a language, and then you extend that, right? So that was the purpose of that series. This new series will be continuation of that. So a brief introduction about what was that series. So for those who are new to this channel, so my approach and my technique in basically explaining anything is always by example. I never say, for example, I take random snippets of code and just explain, oh, this is how you use the I-topological operator. Oh, this is how you create a polygon in GIS. Oh, this is how you connect to an enterprise geodatabase. I don't like to do that because just you can always find this online, right? You can always just search how to connect to an enterprise geodatabase and you're gonna find it, right? But my approach is always, even in my books, right? For those who got my books, like I always use examples, and by examples actually real life examples. So I take one project, one problem, and I try to solve it with Esri technology or Esri technology. All right, so this is my approach, and I'm gonna use, nothing changed here. We're gonna do the same thing. So the project, the only difference here is I'm gonna continue on something we have built on that ArcGIS add-in series. So I'm gonna put the link somewhere here for you guys if you want to go. And it was I think a 12 episodes here, so around 12 hours or less, 10 hours of explaining this technology. So I think I need to go through that and just explain what was the problem. So the original series, which we called there was this telecom company that approached us. It's called Phonatech, I think. It's just a very terrible name. I'm sorry. All right, so that's the name. Phonatech. I don't even. I wanted to come up with a name, and that's the only name I came up with. So think of it like Verizon or Sprint or wherever, right? So this company, this telecom company, this provider has been losing a lot of customer, has been losing a lot of money because their coverage was so bad. So they don't have a decent reception. Most of the areas they don't have any reception at all. So they came to us with this problem and said, hey, iGeometry, can you solve our problem? So this company obviously doesn't exist, right? They don't have any digital record. They only have paper, right? And they have some sort of Excel sheet with all their towers, which is basically the source of signals, right? Think of it like that. So they have a source of signals, and these are the tower's location and like some sort of an Excel sheet. And what we did is we built a suite of application of tools that helps actually on top of ArcMap. We did that, and I can show you too. I can show you what we built. So we built some sort of a range tower visualization system. You know what? Let's show you what we built so far. How about that? I need to explain what we built because in that episode we reached I think we reached we reached some sort of a saturation point that I needed to start a new series in order to explain the next gen of technology that we're gonna use. ArcGIS add-ins and file geodatabases. That's what we used. We used file geodatabase. Doesn't cut it anymore. We need more. So that's why we are starting this series. But we're gonna come to this next. So let me show you what we built. This is the company. This is their service territory where they are allowed to operate. And we built all these fancy graphics, as you see. What we had before was we had nothing. We built the feature classes, we built these layers, we built these symbologies from scratch, right? In 12 episodes, we built all that. So all we had was basically locations and the type of the towers. And then what we did is augmented that. See that like each tower has a type, and that type, each tower has a type and a network band. Like, is it a 3G or a 4G? And then from the tower type, like this is tower type B, there is a table which with all these details, like what is the range of this tower? Like type A costs this much, and it covers around 700 feet. Is it feet or meter? I don't remember. I think I used meter here. I'm still used to the non-American units, but I'm starting to get very used to it. Like and especially in Celsius versus Fahrenheit. Now I'm starting to use Fahrenheit more than Celsius here in the States. Like 80, I know 80 is hot. Like that's the problem, right? I know I'm getting off topic here, but when you come to the state and when someone tells you that it's 60 degrees outside, okay, what is that? Is it hot or cold? You don't know, right? But he told you like it's 12 Celsius. Oh, that is cold because you sometimes you need some sort of a pivot point that tells you this is hot or cold, right? But now I start to know that 80 is hot, like 90 is very hot. But my wife still converts everything to Celsius. Her phone is all like English. Okay, she's laughing. All right, so that's the idea, right? So we have towers as features. This is our feature class, and this is point feature class, and this has really nothing, right? It has the tower ID, tower type, and the network band. And what we did, we built a tool around that. That when you click that, this is the tool we built. I'm very bad at tooltips. I didn't add a tooltip. So when you click that, we generate what we call the tower range. So the tower range, the green one is a 4 signal, basically full bar signal. When you are at this close, right, you get full signal. Like this is the another tool we built. So this is you, for example, this is your phone. So when you click here, we create a feature, and this is the type of the feature. Basically, it's a device. We said device instead of phone, it's better, right? So you know that this phone, when you click here, we find the nearest tower and connect it to it. Like this device now is connected to tower 2. When I click here, it will be connected to tower 1. And the bars are 3, see? See, it's 3 bars because it's like the maximum. When you click here in the yellow, you get 2 bars. When you click here, you get 1 bar. And this is all just basic symbology, right? So that's what we built. Like different kind of, see, tower 2 has big range, while tower 2 and 1. Tower 6 has medium because it's type B. Tower 4, 5 has the lowest range, but they are the cheapest. See, they have a collection of towers, and you can see their problem, right? Those areas that doesn't have any ranges, they don't touch by any tower, they don't have signal. When you click here, you get an X. I have very bad symbology, I'm sorry. I draw this by hand. And sorry about my voice, I just woke up just like 2 hours ago. So, but I decided I have to record this. I have to explain this. So now we have this application that we built, and we want this, the whole thing is pointing to a file Geodatabase, you know. There's a problem with that. We're going to explain that. This tool will be delivered, or this application will be delivered to a company. A company has a lot of users, so you can't put a lot of users, like 50 users, on a file Geodatabase. That's just embarrassing, right? We have to have a decent enterprise multi-user. Finally, we started to talk about multi-user 10 minutes or 13 minutes into this series. All right, so we still have, I just timed it so I can know where I'm going. All right, so what do we need to explain again? Okay, dead areas. So we did another tool, which is this. This guy generates this tower ranges. So for example, let's say you move this tower, right? So I started the thing. We're gonna click on this guy, if he allow me. Yeah, let's just move it here. You know, I moved the feature, but these are again, these are also features, right? But the problem with these features is that they won't move with you, right? These features that we created, right? So we're gonna move this guy here, and when you click on this, it will delete all ranges, and we recreated them again, and we recreate the correct ranges. So some sort of rearrangement. So that's what the users will be doing. They say, oh, let me move this tower. Let me propose to move this tower here, so we get more coverage, or examples. So that's the idea of this. And what happens is that we have a new feature class that we created. It's called dead islands, or dead areas. Dead islands, a video game. All right, so see, this is one geometry union. See, we used again, we're using ArcObject to do all this fancy work, right? So all these purple area is basically things that no one has reception in. We call it dead areas, right? And finally, I'm going to talk about the service territory. That's the final feature we added. For service territory has a name, and it has a reception coverage. And this tool calculates this as well. So it's just a percentage. So we have a very bad coverage. We have like 27% only. That's bad, man. So we need to make this better, right? So, but we reached at a saturation point of that series. So I said, okay, let's stop that. Let's not add any more feature. We need to move this beast into an enterprise geodatabase, right? So for you who are interested in how we made this from scratch, the code is available in GitHub. You can just go deep dive, change anything you want, fork the repository, change anything you want. It's there, right? And from series 1, we started from scratch. There was nothing, literally. We don't have a file geodatabase, we don't have any feature class, we don't have a design. We created a design from scratch. So that's how I like to approach problems. I take a problem, or when I want to teach something, I always take a real problem like this, and we start to materialize it, and we start to find problems, right? Before that, this company, Phonatech, didn't have anything, right? They don't have any sort of visualization. Now we have visualization, but now we run into a problem with limitation of the file geodatabase that this is a single user. We need to move that into multi-user. Okay, which brings us to the next question. What is a multi-user geodatabase? So we know that the file geodatabase is, so we talk about Phonatech, now we talk about multi-user geodatabase. What is that? So what is a geodatabase? So AKA, also called SDE. We don't like to use this term because it's very internal to us at Esri, but it's just when we first shipped this technology, I think 20 years ago, more. So this technology was called ArcSDE, right? Because what's called it has its own client and everything, but now I want to explain as simple as possible. So a file geodatabase is basically nothing but a set of folders with files that we treat as one single geodatabase, right? If you are new to geodatabases in general, I suggest you get the book Learning ArcGIS Geodatabases. I authored this book like 2 years ago. It's really good. It's very popular. So it's very simple, teaches you just basic geodatabases. What are they? What is a feature class? Because I'm not gonna go through these level of details here. I assume you know what is a feature class, what is a feature dataset. If you want to know, just get this book. Let me try ArcGIS, or just type husseinnasser.com. This is embarrassing. That's my list book. This one, Learning ArcGIS Geodatabases. Just click, just husseinnasser.com. You find all my books here. This is a good book to get. It's a very short book. I think it's only, I think 120 pages or something. Just teaches you the basics. All right. So what is an enterprise geodatabase? Oh, this is another name. Enterprise geodatabase, multi-user geodatabase, SDE geodatabase, right? All the same name. So I think this design is genius, not because I work at Esri, but I really admire this technology, because the beauty of this geodatabase is an abstract concept that is built on top of any relational databases. Like, for example, you will have Oracle, and then you lay this binaries, which we call Oracle SDE, right? And for you, it's just SDE technology, right? It's just an enterprise geodatabase, and you lay that down, and then you have this interface we call workspace in geodatabase. And then you hit that geodatabase, and that will talk to Oracle. Same thing. We have another SDE for SQL Server, another SDE for Postgres, another SDE for, I believe, there are like a list of geodatabase. I can't remember them now, but DB2 is coming, SAP HANA is coming. So all these geodatabases, we started to support them one by one for business reasons, obviously. So for this, like, you're gonna install the regular Postgres database, relational database, and then what we do is basically you create an enterprise geodatabase on top of that. When I say on top, it's just really diving deep into that. We create our own user, we call it SDE, and then we create a bunch of SDE tables, and they are all hidden to you. But when you go to the actual relation geodatabase, you see all these tables. But when you connect through ArcMap, you don't see these tables. But we know how to talk to this geodatabase using these tables, right? So that's just in a nutshell a multi-user geodatabase. So what this gives us, like if I built on top of this very top tier geodatabase like Oracle, I get a lot of functionality, right? I get asset basically, not the actual asset, but like atomicity, I get consistency, I get isolation, and I get durability. Don't butcher me for this point. So you get this out of the box, right? And when you talk, the beauty of this, like when you set up a geodatabase, okay, an enterprise geodatabase, and you have the backend running as Oracle, you can switch it to SQL Server, and if you did your coding right, you don't have to change anything in your code. And that's the beauty, because we talk to interfaces. It's always, everything is a workspace, right? Whether this workspace is actually pointing to Oracle or SQL Server, we're gonna know internally, and your code will stay the same. And hopefully, there are cases, of course, where we need to change the code because we're using different kind of multi-user geodatabase. I'm gonna talk about this in this next episode, but that's the idea, right? So you get all these kind of things. So multi-users can hit this geodatabase and edit this, view this in a very fast, reliable manner. So I wrote a blog post about this. Just if you don't know what asset means, just to explain to you by example. Again, I like examples, so I think like that's just that. There you go. Asset part 4. So I have it. Just read it here. It will teach you what atomicity, consistency by examples, and isolation, and all these type of different isolations and all these things. Right. So last thing I want to mention about before we move on to this, because we have around 15 minutes left. So let's see if we can actually, I want to do something in this episode, not just bubble and talk. Yeah. So I want to set up our own enterprise geodatabase and create one here with Postgres, right? So, but I want to talk first about just one advantage of the geodatabase. Not only these, but we have, in Esri, we have something called high isolation. High isolation is that isolation in general in a database, when you open a transaction and you start doing all these queries, and someone else start to hit roughly the same areas that you're hitting, what happens is that you want to be isolated from those changes, okay? And there are different kind of isolation, right? But this type of isolation is only at the transaction level, right? So as long as this transaction is up, you are isolated. But we at Esri provide another technology we call versioning, which gives you a higher level of isolation. So what you do is basically create a version. A version is an abstract concept. A database doesn't know what a version is. SQL database doesn't know what a version is. At a workspace level or at the geodatabase level, we know what a version is. So like you create a version of this default. The default version is always the default, obviously. And then you create a version, and then anything that you edit in your version stays in your version. It's like Las Vegas, right? So anything that you do stays there. Nobody else can see it unless they switch to your version, right? So that's the concept of very high isolation. And it's very popular, especially, and we're going to use that in this project. We're going to use versioning. because 50 users are gonna create 50 versions for them. Each version by their name, perhaps by their project. Like some people gonna create a new project, a new version, and we're gonna add new towers here. I don't want these towers. These are sketch only. These are not real towers. I'm just sketching these towers and then generate this diagram and I see how my graph will look like, right? So I don't want to touch the production default version, right? I don't want people to see my changes. I want to do it locally, localized, and that's what version is for. There are, of course, other concepts like archiving. I'm not gonna go through it now, but it's just this idea of versioning. Okay, so if you do know versioning, if you don't know versioning, that's the idea. If you do know what versioning is, this is the classic type of versioning that what we're gonna do, because with the utility network that I am part of the team of the utility network. We are proposing a new type of versioning, which is much optimized versioning. We call branch versioning, but it's very abstract. You will not notice any difference in the interface. We still have new version, change version, same thing, but underneath the cogs behind the database, we changed all that to make it more optimized. All right, so that's just, we have around 30 minutes, 13. Let's see what we can do. I want to create now, let's close this. I don't want to save. This is the source code of this Phonatech solution. Now I'm gonna install Postgres and then create an enterprise geodatabase. So I downloaded Postgres for I need to talk about one more thing. Before I go to Postgres, I want to talk about my setup. What do I have? We talked about SDE. Let's talk about the setup. What do I have here? I have ArcGIS desktop 10.4.1, which is available on Esri.com. If you have a license, if you don't have a license, you can get always a free 60 days license from www.arcgis.com. You can just subscribe, and for 60 days you get a free license to get the ArcGIS desktop and Pro and all these kind of things. All right, and you get server as well. So I have desktop here installed. I have ArcGIS 10.4.1 desktop. I have, what do I have? I have ArcObjects SDK, obviously, and pretty much that's it. I have Windows 8.1, and I have Visual Studio. That's a free 2015 community. That's what I have. That's just community, right? That's what I have. I don't have anything else. All right, so now I'm gonna create an enterprise geodatabase. This is how we create an enterprise geodatabase. Real easy, right? So let's, we're still recording. Yes, we are. What we do is we go to software, Postgres 9.4.5. That's the version supported by on 10.4.1. You have to know what is supported. It's just very simple, right? You just type in Google like ArcGIS 10.4.1 system requirements, right? And then you go here and you'll find what is supported. This is the operating system supported, and then the databases, like the same thing, right? Database is somewhere here, like I think. ArcGIS 10.4.1 Postgres supported databases, something like that. Yeah, hardware requirements, software requirements should be somewhere here. I swear it was here. Anyway, I don't want to waste more time, but it is there. I'm gonna put the link down. All right, so we're gonna install Postgres default installation. I'm gonna cut this video if it took too long, but I don't believe it's gonna take long. Any password for the Postgres server. That's the port is gonna listen to, and then just next. And again, while this installs, I want to tell you about the ST geometry. So this, on top of not all databases, but some databases, we have to create our own. We have our own proprietary geometry type to store features, right? Geometry. So Postgres, we put some sort of a DLL there as an extension on top of Postgres, and that's it. Postgres knows about Esri, ST geometry. ST geometry is just one type, right? And that's just the native type that we support. Right. Same thing with Oracle. Same thing with SQL Server. And then initializing the database cluster, and you have a database. You have a relational database. Postgres. I use Postgres because it's free. It's open source. You can. I don't want to install SQL Server. It's light and it does the job, right? It's a very good database. No, I don't want to install Stack Builder. Finish, and that's it. And then you go here. We go this ST geometry, that compatible type, and then you copy that. Then you paste it into Postgres. This is a 64-bit version, lib, and then you paste it here. That's it. Now you're done. So to connect to your database, just make sure pgadmin. That's how you connect to your enterprise geodatabase. I had 9.3 before here, so it shows up. So that's just, I have one database called Postgres, right? So I just connected to this. Now what I want to do is go to ArcMap, and then we're gonna create an enterprise geodatabase, right, on top of Postgres. So let's keep this open so I can show you. So this is ArcMap. This is just a empty ArcMap. We go to the. There are many ways to do that, but I prefer the geoprocessing way. So where are you? Data management tool, and then we say geodatabase administration, and I think create enterprise geodatabase. Simple. This is the interface that creates an enterprise geodatabase. So this will create a new database here, right? And we're gonna connect to it. So I am supported. So three platforms are supported now: SQL Server, Postgres, and Oracle. So on instance, my server. What is my server name? That's a good question. Host name. It's iGeometry. Duh. Right. Database. My database. I'm gonna call it Phonatech. I hope this is the right spelling. And then it tells you that this is the data. Who is the database administrator? It's named Postgres, and it says it's the on the schema. So that's a new user that we will create. As I told you before, that this is the user who will own all these tables and all this stuff, right? And finally, the authorization file. You need ArcGIS server authorization file. I think I have it somewhere here. No? That's what I gotta have it here. So geometry. Huh. Where did I put that? C software 1041. There you go. This ArcSDE at one point came with ArcGIS server as a bundle, so the authorization file is the same. And then you just hit OK, and then we get an error. Let's see what it says. You must copy the latest ST geometry and dependency. So I think I have the wrong ST geometry file here. All right. Or did I have the wrong geometry? I thought I had it. C program file Postgres. iGeometry, Phonatech, create. Program file, ArcGIS, desktop, database support, Postgres, 9.4, Windows, geometry, let's copy both. All right, let's give it a shot. All right, so this seems to be working. So the real location of the ST geometry, I had a problem here. So you can find it in the installation directory already, desktop, and then you go database support, and then you go Postgres, and then you i4, and then there you go. That's the latest ST geometry, right? So you will get it from there. So we copy these files and to the right location. All right. So we just created the enterprise geodatabase successfully. So we're going to show how to connect to it. And the next episode, what we will do is basically we will migrate all our stuff into the new geodatabase, right? Let's add a new database connection. You'll say Postgres. See all these supported files. We can connect to all of these guys. All right, so iGeometry instance, and then you can use SDE, then it shows up, it's connected. You can create stuff there, feature class, next, just for test so I can show you. There you go. You just connected to an enterprise geodatabase, and that's the default version. All right. I think we are out of time. 8 seconds, almost done. So this was fun. We will. So what did we do here in this episode? We talked about enterprise geodatabases. We talked about our project, and we created a new Postgres instance. And there you go. We have it there. Now in the next episode, we're gonna talk about more about versioning, and we will do the work to migrate our code. Hopefully, we don't need to do anything, but we might. So there's a big difference. I'm gonna explain it tomorrow. So, and also we need to copy all this databases. I mean feature classes from this enterprise from this file geodatabase all into this. Real easy. Real easy. Just a copy and paste, right? There are little things to enable versioning, but we're going to talk about it in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we're going to see you in the next one. How do you like the new bunny? That's the multi-user interface. All right. See you guys. Bye.